Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing some more rebuild, continue on with my rebuild series. Now this time I'm going to be focusing on a race team hauler that I built just over a year ago now. Now with this I'm going to be doing it in a 2, maybe 3-part series. So this is pretty much the first part of it, mainly that because there's so much to it, there's not really enough to condense into one. I can't really condense everything into one video. So for this, I'm pretty much just going to go show you what the condition of it is in, which I don't exactly know for myself, but I can't imagine that it's any good. Plus all the other stuff that came with it. So the the thing in question is my Predsel Edsel race team, which I have three kits featured. That was part of this build. The main ones being the Ford LN8000 race car hauler, as well as the 58 Edsel Pacer. So, then along with it did have a support trailer from which I used the Galaxy Limited 21-foot tag-along trailer. So, I'll put this to the side for now and focus on the other stuff first. So starting off with the, might as well start off with the car first. So, this car here. So, here's the car here. Now, for this here, I want to do in a gasser themed. So, got raised suspension. And then swapped the front to a solid leaf front end. Which I think looks pretty nice. But looking at more, I'm starting to think that I should probably get some. I am debating on getting some wider tires for this, as these little skinny ones don't really look like they would cut it very well. And along with it, I also going to have to make a proper drive shaft, as all I really had at the time was some extra sprue, and then dropped a drive shaft into bits. Yeah, so then with that, pretty much did a gold and blue two-tone. Used some of the decals that came with the kit. Now the engine that's in here was an extra engine that I had out of another kit that I had a dual carburetor setup on it, so I want to use that. But I don't know if I'm going to be taking this apart and rebuilding it. But what I'm thinking about doing, what I am debating about, is potentially taking some of the parts off and turn this into a supercharged engine, just to give it more of a performance vibe. As for now, it just looks like a basic street machine. Yeah. So, and with that, then did a very basic interior. Didn't install the back seats. And then did detail some of the interior. Did add a custom steering wheel that came out of a different kit. Then mix match of decals. So for this car here, I do have the hood here with me, but when I originally painted the hood, there was a bunch of scuffs that I wasn't too fond about, and to have it on the car, it looks good from far, but far from good. So what I more decided to do is have it, as you see with most street cars, just drive it and race it with the hood off. So there's pretty much that. Surprisingly, still in decent shape. But so yeah. So there's that. I'll just put this to the side. So might go through that, put some more parts on. But now the big thing here on the race truck. This one here is what I have to go with it. As one to have it like a special hauler truck for a race team that would have. So then, yeah, so far this is pretty much what the condition of the truck's in, which I find is a bit unfortunate, as it was a really nice build when it was first done up. I got a few loose chrome parts here like mirror brackets, mirror itself. So all this, just going to keep it to the side for now. And then do have a few other accessories like this one. This was actually something that I had in the trailer as a special shelving unit for tools and such. So I'll have to get that back on. Then got the wheels and tires, which were done up in a matching scheme to go with the truck and the car. A few other parts. Here's the back of the dualies. Got an air tank here, air filter, front bumper, and then the radiator. The radiator with the shroud. So then, so those are loose parts there, and then getting onto the main truck. Okay, there's the other mirror. Okay, there's trailer hitch. Yeah, here's the other mirror. Luckily, that's still intact. So that should be fairly easy to get back onto the truck. But I will say for these style of mirrors, they're quite the task in order to get properly fitted on. Then got the trailer hitch for the Galaxy Limited trailer. And see the decals have chipped ever so slightly. But if anything, I could just maybe, if I can find some close matching paint, I might just go over, detail that to make it look not as bad. But of course, this was one of my first real big rig kit. So this was quite a bit of a task to build. Got the front right wheel barely staying on. Along to the other side. The seat, apparently the seat in the truck ended up coming off. Well, both seats actually came undone. So, a lot of this here, by the looks of it, it's going to be quite a bit of rebuilding on it. And this is one of the models where you end up having it where you think it looked good when you first built it, but then over the years it starts to wear down, and you quickly begin to realize that you could have done a way better job if you give it a little bit more time and patience. But of course, that's when you learn what you're doing. Then, yeah. And then here I have the hood with some striping work done on it to match with the truck and the car. Then along with some of the blue accents, of course, in a matching blue and gold two-tone. So there's there's probably going to be a fair amount to this that's going to be needed to be rebuilt. Like as you can see here, the drive shaft popped off a while ago, and then along with it, do have one of the exhausts that did fall out that I just threw into a savers bin for later. So it's quite a lot of work that's going to need to be refurbished on this. It does seem like it was, I will say it did look fairly nice. Still does, but of course in a bit of disrepair. And then along with it, didn't realize this till I was just about done. the ramp deck itself was actually warped. So yeah, you can definitely see that it's not perfectly level. So it was a very big task to try and get the rear panel on, which seemed much more difficult than what it should have been. But of course, I could have tried to order a new ramp, but when you're typically ordering parts through a model company, it takes a while for stuff to show up. So, yeah, so pretty much a case of making do with what I've got. So, yeah, so there's pretty much that on the truck. And then we got the trailer, which actually I'll clean up my mess here, put everything into a proper container for when I get to rebuilding. So we're right back. So I got the aerial cleaned up now, and you're now going to take a look at the condition of the trailer. Now, one thing that I will say about this is that I prefer, probably mentioned this before, but I do like having it where the model can actually fit in the box. So I have found that it's a little bit awkward, but pretty much making do with what I have. So then with the Galaxy Limited trailer, so pretty much a lot of it was built up, but yeah. So here's one of the sides. As you can kind of tell, there's some slight blemishes, especially on the door here, where it probably didn't spray enough in certain areas, or there was a bunch of runs. But oh well. And then also there with this kit, there's the optional door that goes with it that I decided to install. Now typically on here with this, you could either decide to do it on the left or the right side. I decided to do it on the left as that's typically where the side service door would be. So there's that. Then with this kit also, yeah, here's the back door. Also with this, there was the option to build it with the back, yeah, right here with where you could have the fold out door, where you can have the swing action barn door style rear hatch, or you can have the rear lift gate, which is what I decided to do with mine. Of course, and then make it look like a fake wood style. Have it there, and then with with a fairly nice diamond plating base on it. Then here's the other side wall, and you can see there's quite a bit of smudging on. A little bit of smudging that could probably clear off. And then had a few accessories hanging on the wall where there's a little glue splotches. Then on the inside here, between the walls, I had reused one of the ramp pieces that you would use for the rear loading bay. So then with that, I cut that to size so that I actually had an indoor tire rack to go across. But that's since broken off. Then going on to the other side, nothing really fancy on the front. The other side's fairly just the same. Then of course had the car name and year on the side. The kit did come with these nice essentially reflective tapes. So fair makes sense to put those on. There's that, and then got the chassis part here, which is a fairly decent size to be park a vehicle in. Then you got the jacks. You got your jack stands, which didn't at the time. I didn't really figure out how to properly put these on, so they're just loosely hanging in. But I am sure what you're supposed to properly do is actually have these fully clicked in. And then you got the rear axles with some moon dish hubcaps. And then with these, they're just a set of solid rubber tires, which, being solid, they're not very flexible. So there was those. Yeah, so then I do just have these for spares. Do have the ramps that would go for the truck, which just seem like your standard trailer ramps. Let's get this out of the way. So they'd be your fairly simple trailer ramps. Didn't get around to painting these, but I did paint up the ramp accessories, which for the trailer, in the instructions at least, there you did have the option so that you could have an elevated ramp. So if, say, you had a long vehicle that you wanted to get in here, you could have that elevated. And then it did have some scaffolding that you could use to build up something, but didn't really bother doing that. But I have considered actually trying to see if I can get another one of these trailers, just to build up as a standard car hauler, pretty much meant for anything. As these do build up fairly nicely. Then I do have a couple other accessories still here in the box. Like, it had a tool chest. Where, as you can see on the floor of the trailer, just had it glued into place. So it would just sit in like so. Then what else? Do have this Rupp mini bike that came out of the MPC 78 Dodge truck. Did this up, painted it up, just in a different color scheme from everything else. And just figured have this as like a little pit bike, as you'd normally do. And then did have along with that, did have welding torch with the nozzles, which are fairly nice, but didn't really detail them up all that well. So they're fairly basic. Of course, two different colors representing different material that would have been in the cylinders. And then got some barricades, or just some sawhorses to put like, say, some parts on that needed to get worked on. And did have, let's hear, what else did I have? Here's the other one. Here's the other sawhorse for it. And then had a creeper for your servicing. So for some of these accessories, these were actually part of the AMT garage accessory set. So those were pretty much what came with that kit. So a lot of these stuff here was a bunch of extras, and really all you really got was just the trailer, nothing else. And then let's hear what else here at the bottom of the box. Yeah, so got the rest of the remainder of the hubcaps and the tires and a few other small parts here and there. So really, that's all what there is. So that's pretty much what I had with the trailer. Fairly basic, but served its purpose being a sheltered work area, say say if it was raining, didn't want to be working outside, just pretty much a case of just bringing the car into the trailer and do some small work with it. But of course at the time, didn't really know as much as what I was doing then as I do now. So between the trailer, the truck, the trailer, and the car, I have a feeling there's going to be a fairly fun rebuild project if you're interested in. And of course, continuing on the series doing rebuilds seems like a fairly fitting topic. So I think that's pretty much going to be it for this video today. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.